Imagine this, you're pulled over for speeding. Except you weren't speeding, your dashcam proves it. But in court, the officer testifies under oath, confidently spinning a story that doesn't match reality. The judge believes the lying officer. It's their word against yours after all. And you're stuck with fines, points on your license, and a permanent bad taste in your mouth about the justice system. Now, imagine finding out later that this same officer has a history of providing creative testimony. So much so that they've been caught lying under oath by a prosecutor or court and were added to a prosecutor's Brady list, a list reserved for officers whose honesty under oath is, well, debatable. But here's the twist. Under Senate Bill 1274, currently up for consideration in Virginia, that officer could challenge their designation, appeal it in court, and possibly have it wiped clean. And all of this would happen behind closed doors with records sealed tight. Comforting, isn't it? Let's break this down. Right now, prosecutors have the authority to designate officers whose credibility is in question, whether they've given inconsistent statements or done something else that prosecutors are constitutionally required to disclose to the defense. Senate Bill 1274 proposes to change that. It creates a formal process for officers to fight back. First, they'd get a nice, polite notification that they've been added to the list. Then they'd have 14 days to demand a review of the evidence. Not satisfied with the review? No problem. They can file objections. Still not happy? They can take it to court for a full evidentiary hearing. And if the judge decides the prosecutor made the wrong call, poof, the designation is gone. Like it never happened. But wait, there's more. Under this bill, an officer can't be disciplined, fired, or even mildly scolded just because they made it onto the list. Sure, the agency could still discipline them for the bad behavior that got them on the list in the first place, but the list itself? Hands off. Because who are we to let something as trivial as a pattern of dishonesty get in the way of someone's career? And if you think this only applies to future cases, think again. Senate Bill 1274 is retroactive. That means officers already on Brady lists can have their designations reviewed, challenged, and potentially erased. So prosecutors may find themselves wading through years of old designations, revisiting decisions and juggling appeals, all while trying to manage their actual caseloads. Sounds efficient, right? Supporters say the bill is about fairness. It protects officers from being unfairly labelled based on a prosecutor's whim. And sure, that's a nice sentiment. But critics warn that it could also make it harder for prosecutors to do their jobs. You know, the part where they disclose credibility issues to ensure fair trials, that pesky constitutional obligation. Yeah, that. And let's not forget the secrecy. The court proceedings under this bill are confidential, the record sealed, and there's no option for appeal once the judge makes a decision. Transparency, accountability, never heard of them. So, what does this mean for the rest of us? Well, if you're ever in court facing testimony from an officer whose honesty is flexible, just hope they haven't successfully appealed their way off a Brady list, because if they have, you might never know about their questionable history. Justice for all, indeed. It's for Virginia lawmakers have a choice. They can stand for accountability, transparency and public trust, or they can pass Senate Bill 1274 and make it that much harder to hold law enforcement officers accountable for their actions. Either way, one thing's clear, this bill is less about justice and more about reputation management. Because nothing says equal protection under the law quite like giving some people an exclusive shortcut to dodge accountability. To stay up to date on the latest crime and justice news, subscribe to Breaking Through News on the Newsbreak app, on YouTube, or at breakingthrough.com.